The laughter cuts through Gate 27 like shrapnel. Captain Devlin Ashford keeps her eyes forward. Terminal C at Denver International. December cold bleeding through the windows. Her left leg drags slightly with each step. Not much. Just enough. Just enough for them to notice. 4 soldiers. Young. Crisp uniforms stretching across shoulders that haven't learned to carry real weight yet. They're huddled near the charging stations, killing time before their connecting flights. One of them, broad-shouldered kid with a fresh haircut that screams Fort Benning, he sees her first. The limp. He nudges the soldier next to him, points with his chin, the universal language of men who think they're invisible. Devlin knows this dance. She's been dancing it for 7 months. She adjusts the strap of her carry-on. The movement causes her denim jacket to shift just slightly. Underneath, pinned above her heart, a small silver star catches the fluorescent light. 5 points. Suspended from a ribbon of red, white, and blue. The third highest combat decoration the United States military can bestow. Most people don't recognize it. Most people see the limp and they write their own story. Wannabe, cosplayer, stolen valor. The assumptions come fast and they come easy. The broad-shouldered kid, his name tape reads, Pierce. He stands up, rocks back on his heels. Then he takes 3 exaggerated steps, dragging his left leg behind him like dead weight. His buddies explode. Genuine laughter. The kind that comes from people who think cruelty is just honesty without a filter. One of them, Shepard, 21, if he's a day, pulls out his phone, starts recording. Devlin keeps walking. Her hand drifts to her jacket. Fingers brush the star's edges through the fabric. She doesn't look at them. Doesn't need to. She survived worse than cruel words. Survived worse than young men who mistake ignorance for strength. 20 feet ahead near the gate podium, a man stands frozen. 62 years old, silver hair cut military sharp. 3 stars on his shoulder boards. Chest heavy with ribbons that tell stories these boys couldn't spell, let alone understand. General Frank Garrison. His eyes lock onto the star above Devlin's heart. And then in one fluid motion, the kind of movement that comes from muscle memory carved over 4 decades, this decorated general, this man who commanded thousands, who briefed presidents, who sent young men into harm's way and carried their names like stones in his pockets. He drops to both knees right there. Gate 27, between a Starbucks and a Hudson News. The terminal doesn't go silent. That only happens in movies. But it goes quiet enough. Heads turn, conversations pause. The 4 soldiers stop laughing like someone cut their power. Garrison's voice carries, not loud. He doesn't need loud. Captain Ashford, 2 words. They land like artillery. Thank you for bringing my son home. 24 months earlier, Fort Campbell, Kentucky, December 2022. The conference room smells like old coffee and older arguments. Devlin Ashford stands at attention in front of a table where 3 men sit in judgment. She's 25 years old, 5'7", hair pulled back so tight it could be tactical. Her Class A uniform fits like it was tailored by someone who understood that precision is a form of respect. Colonel Wade Thornton sits center, 55, face like carved granite left out in bad weather. He's got the kind of eyes that stopped trusting people around the same time Nixon resigned. To his left, Major Keating, 40s, administrator. The kind of officer who measures success in completed forms. To his right, General Frank Garrison, 60 years old then, decorated Gulf War pilot, 3 stars that he earned in sand and fire, not conference rooms. He's watching Devlin the way a craftsman watches someone handle his tools. On the table between them, a single folder. Devlin's service record, top of her class at Fort Rucker. Instrument rating that made her instructors shake their heads in disbelief. 97th percentile on combat scenarios. Letters of recommendation from people who don't write letters. Thornton hasn't opened it. Doesn't need to. He made his decision before she walked in. Lieutenant Ashford, he doesn't look up. You're aware that the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment has requested your transfer. Yes, sir. You're aware that this transfer includes immediate deployment to Helmand Province, Afghanistan, combat zone. Yes, sir. You're aware, now he looks up, that in my 29 years of service, I have never deployed a female pilot into active Taliban territory. The room waits. I'm aware, sir. Thornton leans back. His chair creaks. You know why? I suspect you'll tell me, sir. His jaw tightens. Because combat aviation isn't about checking boxes or proving points. It's about bringing my men home alive. And every piece of evidence, every study, every field report tells me that women crack under sustained enemy fire. I've seen it. Men I trust have seen it. Devlin doesn't blink. Permission to speak freely, sir. Denied. Thornton closes the folder without reading it. Request for transfer is approved. It's Garrison. First word he's spoken since Devlin entered. Thornton's head snaps toward him. Frank. She's top of her class, Wade. You want to explain to SOCOM why we're rejecting their #1 pick because of your feelings. This isn't about feelings. It's about combat effectiveness. She scored higher than 97% of male pilots in combat scenarios, including your golden boy, Captain Hendricks. Thornton's face darkens. Simulator scores don't mean 6 months. Garrison stands. When he stands, other people feel shorter. Not because of his height, because of the weight he carries. Give her 6 months under my direct command. I'll evaluate her personally. If she doesn't meet standard, my standard, not yours, she comes home. But if she does, you sign off on the full deployment. No more roadblocks. Thornton studies him. Your standard. I'll train her myself, same program I ran in '03, the one that produced 4 of your best pilots. Garrison looks at Devlin. Lieutenant, you understand what you're volunteering for? Yes, sir. No, you don't. He picks up the folder. But you will. Thornton sits in silence for 10 seconds. Then one mistake, Frank. Just one, and she's done. That's the deal for everyone in my program, Wade. She won't get special treatment. Garrison moves toward the door, expects Devlin to follow. Except maybe I'll push her twice as hard, since she'll be carrying twice the scrutiny. In the hallway, Garrison walks fast. Devlin keeps pace. Her boots echo on the linoleum. Sir, I appreciate, don't. He doesn't slow down. Don't appreciate anything yet. You just volunteered for 6 months of hell. Thornton wants you to fail. Half the men in your unit will want you to fail. Some because they're sexist, some because they're scared that if you succeed, it proves they're not as special as they thought. He stops at an emergency exit door, pushes through into cold December air. The door slams behind them. My training program has a 40% washout rate, Lieutenant, and those are men who already survived flight school. He turns to face her. I'm going to push you until something breaks, either your body, your mind, or their assumptions. One of those 3 things is going to shatter. I understand, sir. His eyes are blue, the kind of blue that looks through you. Because I need you to understand something else. This isn't about you, not really. If you succeed, you're opening a door. Every woman who comes after you will walk through easier. But if you fail, especially if you fail in combat, that door slams shut. Maybe for a generation. That's not fair, sir. You're right, it's not. He starts walking again toward a parking lot where a black pickup waits. War isn't fair, the military isn't fair, and life sure as hell isn't fair to people who try to be first at anything. He reaches his truck. But I'm going to train you anyway. You know why? No, sir. Because 3 years ago, my wife died of cancer. Strongest person I ever knew. Tougher than any Marine I commanded. And when she was dying, you know what she told me? He opens the driver's door. Frank, stop protecting people from their own courage. So that's what I'm doing. I'm getting out of your way. He climbs in, starts the engine. Report to Hangar 7 at 0500 tomorrow. Bring everything you are willing to lose. The next 6 months blur into a single continuous present tense. Garrison doesn't train her. He forges her. 0500 becomes 0430 becomes 0400. Simulator time that stretches until her eyes burn and her hands cramp. Flight hours in conditions that ground commercial traffic. Night operations where the moon is new and the goggles turn the world into green static. He teaches her things they don't cover at Fort Rucker. How to fly a Black Hawk with hydraulics failing and the stick fighting you like a living thing. How to land in brownout conditions where the rotor wash kicks up so much dust you're navigating by feel and faith. How to pull wounded men through doors while the bird's still 10 feet off the ground and taking fire. Most importantly, he teaches her how to make decisions when every option is bad. Combat aviation is just applied philosophy, he tells her during a night briefing month 3. They're alone in the hangar. Everyone else went home hours ago. Utilitarianism in real time. You're always choosing who lives. The question is whether you can live with your choice afterward. She's exhausted, hasn't slept more than 4 hours in weeks. How do you live with it, sir? Poorly. He closes the flight manual. But I live. That's the point. You make the call, you execute, you carry it, you keep moving. The men who hesitate die. And worse, they get other people killed. By month 4, she's flying missions that would make seasoned pilots nervous. Garrison sits co-pilot, mostly silent, occasionally reaching over to adjust her grip or bark a correction that saves her life. By month 5, he stops correcting her. By month 6, he starts asking her opinion on approach vectors. The final evaluation comes on a Thursday morning. June heat turning the tarmac soft. Thornton is there. So is the entire command staff. Garrison briefs a scenario medical evacuation from a hot landing zone, multiple casualties, hostile fire, mechanical failure halfway through. Devlin flies it flawlessly. Garrison doesn't smile, doesn't congratulate her, just marks something on his clipboard and tells her to secure the bird. In his office afterward, he pours 2 glasses of water, slides one across the desk. You passed. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me. You did the work. He drinks. Thornton will sign off on your deployment. You'll ship to Bagram next month. From there, Helmand Province. How long is the deployment? 10 months, if you're lucky. He sets down the glass. Lieutenant, I need to tell you something, and I need you to never repeat it. Sir, he hesitates. Frank Garrison, who flew combat missions over Baghdad, who briefed generals and senators, hesitates. I have a son, Garrett. He's 19. I didn't know you had... He enlisted 6 months ago. Marines, infantry, against my advice. Garrison's voice doesn't change, but something behind his eyes does. He deployed to Helmand Province 2 weeks ago. The air in the office goes still. He doesn't want special treatment, doesn't want anyone to know his father is a general. So his service record lists me as deceased. Officially, as far as the military is concerned, I died in a training accident in 2008. Why are you telling me this, sir? Because if something happens, if he gets in trouble, I need someone over there who I trust. Someone who understands what it means to not leave people behind. He opens a drawer, pulls out a single piece of paper, grid coordinates, handwritten. This is his unit's operating area. Memorize it, then destroy it. Devlin studies the numbers, burns them into memory, hands back the paper. Garrison lights it with a Zippo, watches it curl and blacken in an ashtray. Garrett doesn't know I'm telling you this. He can't know, but if he calls for help, if anyone in his unit calls for help, I need to know you'll answer. I will, sir. Even if it costs you everything. She doesn't hesitate. Yes, sir. He nods once. Then I guess I trained you right. Helmand Province, Afghanistan, June 2023, April 2024. The heat is what she remembers first. Not the violence, not the fear, the heat. 115 degrees in the shade, and there is no shade. Just dust and rock and mountains that look like God gave up halfway through creating them. The air tastes like burning trash and diesel fuel. By noon, metal surfaces become weapons. Touch the wrong part of your rifle, and you're wearing your skin on the barrel. Devlin's call sign becomes official Valkyrie. Not because she asked for it, because after her 4th medical evacuation of Marines she pulled out of a minefield, kid named Wallace. With both legs gone below the knee, he grabbed her sleeve as she loaded him and said, "You're a goddamn Valkyrie, ma'am. Come to take us to Valhalla." She told him he wasn't dying today. He said, "With you flying, I believe it." The name stuck. 10 months, 89 missions, 37 lives pulled from situations where the math said they were already dead. Devlin flies into places that make veteran pilots shake their heads. She flies through sandstorms that reduce visibility to arm's length, flies at night with no moon and Taliban tracers making geometry out of the dark. She doesn't lose anyone. Not on her bird, not once. Colonel Thornton receives the reports. She can imagine him reading them in his climate-controlled office at Fort Campbell. Each mission is a small failure of his assumptions. Each life saved is evidence that he was wrong. She imagines it bothers him, that her success feels like his defeat. She doesn't care. She's too busy keeping people alive. Garrett Garrison's unit operates 40 miles northwest of her base. She never sees him, but she tracks his unit's movements on the operations board, watches the pins move across the map. Sometimes she hears chatter on the net, his unit in contact requesting air support, someone else responding. She never flies his grid, never gets the call, until she does. May 15, 2024, 16:47 hours. The day starts normal, if normal means 112 degrees and dust devils dancing across the airfield. Devlin's in the ready room reviewing maintenance logs with her crew. Lieutenant Bryn Mackey, her co-pilot, 29, Minnesota, calm in the way that terrifies enemies and reassures wounded. Staff Sergeant Wyatt Hollis, crew chief, 26, Georgia drawl that gets thicker under stress. He's the kind of man who treats the Black Hawk like a living thing, knows its moods and quirks better than he knows his own. The alarm splits the afternoon. 9-line medical evacuation, emergency frequency. Someone's screaming coordinates over the radio through static and gunfire. Devlin's moving before the second ring. Where? She's pulling on her flight vest, heading for the door. Mackey reads off the tablet, grid November 74286, Poppy Field 43 miles northwest. 6 Marines ambushed, at least 3 casualties. Heavy contact. They're requesting immediate. Devlin stops walking. Northwest, 43 miles. She knows those coordinates. Memorized them 11 months ago from a piece of paper that burned in an ashtray. Garrett Garrison's operating area. Requesting immediate extraction. Taliban forces estimated 3 times their number. They're running out of ammunition. Devlin's already moving again. Spin up the bird. We're wheels up in 4 minutes. Hollis grabs the medical kit. We got authorization. Getting it now, she reaches the operations center at a run, throws open the door. Major Keating's there looking at the same information on a larger screen. Lieutenant, I'm taking it. Negative. That zone is designated no-fly. Command assesses a 70% probability of loss. We're requesting Apache gunship support first, then. Those Marines don't have time for protocol. They have maybe 20 minutes before, Lieutenant, I understand the urgency. The radio squawks, different voice now, deeper, carrying 3 decades of authority. November 7-4, this is home plate actual. Authorization granted for immediate extraction. Valkyrie is cleared hot. Keating stares at the radio. Home plate actual is General Garrison's call sign, but Garrison's stateside. Fort Campbell, 8,000 miles away, which means he's been monitoring this frequency. Waiting, knowing. Sir, Keating reaches for the transmitter. With respect, operational command for this sector belongs to. Another voice cuts in. Colonel Wade Thornton. His voice is everything sharp edges and contained fury. Home plate, actual, this is Campbell 6. I am countermanding that authorization. The risk assessment is clear. Mission abort. Lieutenant Ashford is ordered to stand down. Silence on the frequency. 3 seconds that stretch like hours. Then Garrison, Campbell 6 home plate. Actual, I have operational authority for SOCOM deployments in this theater. Lieutenant Ashford is operating under my command. Authorization stands. Frank, Thornton's using his first name now. The professional veneer cracking. Don't do this. Don't put her in a no-fly zone because you're trying to prove a point about. This isn't about proving anything. This is about 6 Marines who are dying while we have this conversation. Garrison's voice could cut steel. Valkyrie, you are cleared for immediate extraction. Bring them home. Devlin's already running. Behind her, she hears Thornton. If she gets killed, Frank, that blood is on your hands. And Garrison quiet now, almost sad. Every drop of blood in this war is on my hands, Wade. What's 6 more, Thorin? The Black Hawk lifts at 16:53 hours. The flight is 31 minutes at combat speed. Devlin pushes it to 24. Mackey handles comms, trying to raise the Marines, getting nothing but static and sporadic gunfire. Someone's keying the mic but not speaking. Just the sound of a firefight compressed into radio waves. Valkyrie 1-1, this is Dagger 2-3. We are taking heavy fire. 3 casualties, running low on ammunition. Please at EDTs. Finally, a voice young, breathing hard, scared but functional. Mackie, Dagger 2-3 Valkyrie inbound, 20 minutes. We don't have 20 minutes. Then make 20 minutes, Devlin's voice over the intercom. Dagger 2-3, this is Valkyrie Actual. I need you to listen carefully. Conserve ammunition, control bursts. Make them think you have more than you do. We're coming. You're going home today. Ma'am, the voice cracks. They're everywhere. We can't. Yes, you can. What's your name, Marine? Garrison. Lance Corporal Garrett Garrison. Devlin's hands tighten on the controls, just slightly. Not enough for Mackie to notice. Garrett, I need you to keep your head down and your men together. I'm going to pull you out of there, all of you. Do you understand? Yes, ma'am. Good. Stay alive 20 more minutes. That's an order. The poppy field comes into view at 1716 hours. Beautiful almost, acres of red and white flowers rippling in the rotor wash. Except for the smoke, and the tracers, and the 6 men huddled in a crater that used to be an irrigation ditch. Hollis leans out the door scanning, taking fire, multiple positions, east and south. How many? At least 20 shooters I can see, probably more. Standard procedure is to call for gunship support. Soften the target. Come in when it's safe. There is no time for standard procedure. We're going in. Devlin adjusts pitch beginning the descent. Mackie, get ready to... The world tilts, not metaphorically, literally. The Black Hawk lurches sideways like a horse shot mid-gallop. Alarms scream. Every warning light on the dashboard turns red simultaneously. RPG, RPG, we're hit! Mackie's hands fly across the controls trying to compensate for something that can't be compensated. The tail rotor is gone. Not damaged. Gone. Devlin sees it in the mirror, a twisted stub spraying hydraulic fluid and smoke. They're spinning. Physics taking over. The Black Hawk becomes a $40 million top rotating faster with each second. She's trained for this. Garrison drilled her, but training is different when the ground is rushing up and your co-pilot is screaming and you can feel the centrifugal force trying to tear your hands off the controls. Brace, brace, brace. Mackie's shouting into the radio, Mayday, Mayday, Valkyrie 1-1 going down grid. They hit the earth at 70 miles per hour. The sound is violence made audible. Metal screaming, bones breaking, the world compressing into a single point of impact that spreads like shock waves through everything. Devlin's head snaps forward. Her harness catches her, but something in her chest cracks. Ribs, probably. The pain is immediate and total. When the Black Hawk stops moving, she's upside down. No, wait, she's right side up. The world is sideways. Everything is smoke and dust and the electrical fire smell of systems dying. Mackie. Her voice sounds far away, underwater. Wyatt, no answer. She looks left. Lieutenant Bryn Mackie is still strapped in her seat, head bent at an angle that heads don't bend, eyes open, not seeing anything. No. Devlin reaches out, touches Mackie's shoulder. No, 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 Bryn, come on. Nothing. Behind her, a wet coughing sound. Hollis. She unbuckles, falls half a foot to what used to be the ceiling. Her left leg lights up with pain so complete it stops being pain and becomes something else. Information. Data. Your femur is broken. Your tibia is broken. Your ankle is doing things ankles weren't designed to do. She crawls to Hollis. He's pinned under a piece of the transmission. Blood everywhere. Lung puncture. She can hear it whistling when he breathes. Wyatt, stay with me. He coughs, red spray. Valkyrie. I'm going to get you out. No. He knows. She can see that he knows. Get them. The Marines, get them. I'm getting you first. He grabs her wrist. His grip is weak. Promise me. Get them. Wyatt, promise. She's crying. When did she start crying? I promise. He smiles, actually smiles. Good. His grip loosens. Tell Sloan, tell my sister He doesn't finish. Devlin holds his hand until it goes cold. Then she lowers it gently to his chest and forces herself to look away. Outside, she can hear gunfire. The Marines, still fighting, still dying, 200 meters away according to the GPS that's somehow still functioning on her wrist. Her leg is broken in 3 places. She knows this the same way she knows her name. The bone is visible through her flight suit. White against red. She should stay here. Wait for rescue. That's the doctrine. But rescue is 40 minutes out. The Marines have maybe 10. In the wreckage, she finds Hollis's M4 carbine. A med kit that somehow survived intact. The radio cracked but transmitting. She crawls to the door, pulls herself through. The poppy field stretches ahead, beautiful and terrible. Bullets cutting through the flowers like invisible scythes. 200 meters. She starts crawling. 1723 hours. The first 10 meters teach her what pain really is, not the sharp crack of bone breaking. That was introduction. This is the dissertation. This is pain as a continuous state of being. Every movement of her elbows drives fresh agony up through her shattered leg. The femur grinds against itself. She can feel it. The pieces moving independently like they belong to different bodies. The M4 weighs 9 pounds. Might as well be 900. She drags it alongside her, barrel cutting a furrow through the dirt. The med kit is strapped to her back. 20 pounds of supplies that feel like a car engine. Blood trails behind her. A wet red line through the poppies. She makes it 15 meters before she has to stop. Lies flat on her stomach face in the dirt, breathing through clenched teeth. The world narrows to a point directly in front of her nose. Everything else is white noise and vertigo. The radio crackles on her vest. Valkyrie 1-1, this is home plate actual. Sit rep. Garrison's voice. Calm. Like he's asking about weather. She keys the mic. Can barely speak. Bird is down. Mackie and Hollis are, they're gone, sir. Silence for 3 seconds. And you Tom mobile. Your condition, Lieutenant. Left leg is compromised. Femur, tibia, ankle. Sir, the Marines. I know where the Marines are. How far? She checks her GPS through vision that keeps blurring. 185 meters. Can you make it? Honest answer, no. Realistic answer, no. But Garrison didn't train her to give realistic answers. Yes, sir. Then move. Apache support is 22 minutes out. I need you to keep those men alive until then. Copy. She starts crawling again. Ahead, the gunfire intensifies. The Marines are in a depression, old irrigation ditch maybe 3 feet deep. 6 men against what sounds like platoon strength. The Taliban learned years ago that Americans will always come for their wounded. So you hurt a few, pin them down, wait for the rescue bird, then you kill everyone at once. Devlin passed the test in survival school. The scenario where you have to choose between staying with your downed aircraft or moving to help others. The instructors always said the same thing: secure yourself first. You can't help anyone if you're dead. The instructors never met Wyatt Hollis, never heard him say "get them" with his last breath, never promised a dying man anything. She crawls faster. At 30 meters, a bullet hits the ground 6 inches from her head, kicks up a spray of dirt that she tastes more than sees. She freezes. Not strategy, pure animal instinct. The kind that kept humans alive when saber-toothed cats were the apex predator. But staying still won't save her here. She low crawls, elbows right knee dragging the useless left leg. Moving during the gaps in gunfire when the Taliban are reloading or repositioning. Every meter costs her something. Skin from her elbows. Blood from wounds she can't identify. Pieces of herself left in the dirt. At 50 meters, she hears them. Not the Marines, the Taliban. Speaking Pashto. Close enough that if she understood the language, she'd know what they were saying. But tone translates. They sound excited, confident. They know the helicopter is down. They saw it fall. Now they're just mopping up. One of them is giving orders. She picks out his voice. Deeper than the others. Probably older. He's directing fire, coordinating movements. In another life, different war, different uniforms, she might respect his tactical sense. In this life, she just needs him to shut up long enough for her to move. The radio squawks. She fumbles for the volume, kills it before it gives her away. But she heard the beginning. Apache delayed, mechanical issues. Now 30 minutes out. 30 minutes might as well be 30 years. She keeps crawling. 1741 hours. At 100 meters, her body tries to quit. Just stops. Muscles refuse the next command. Elbows lock up. Even her right leg, the good one, won't respond. She lies there in the poppies, face down, breathing dust and cordite, and for the first time since the crash, she thinks, I'm going to die here. The thought is weirdly peaceful. 89 missions. Every time climbing into that bird, wondering if this is the one. Every time pulling mangled kids out of wreckage and telling them they're going home, when sometimes they both know that's a lie. And for what? So Colonel Thornton could be proven right. So the next woman who wants to fly combat has to work twice as hard to overcome the precedent of Devlin Ashford dying in a poppy field. She closes her eyes and sees her mother. Not literally. Her mother died when Devlin was 23. Cancer. Same disease that took Garrison's wife, but faster. 6 months from diagnosis to grave. Mexican heritage. Strong hands. Voice that could command a room or sing a lullaby with equal power. Standing in their kitchen in El Paso, morning before Devlin left for basic training. Mija, you will be scared. That's good. Fear means you care. But don't let fear make you small. Your father, he ran into fire because someone had to. You fly into war because someone has to. That's not reckless. That's love. Levántate, mija. Get up, my daughter. Her eyes open. 100 meters left. She starts moving. 1803 hours. At 40 meters, a Taliban fighter sees her. He's young, 17, maybe 18. Beard that's more hope than hair. He's carrying an AK-47 that's older than he is, moving through the poppies in a combat crouch. He almost steps on her. She sees his eyes go wide. Shock. He's raising the rifle finger, moving to the trigger, and Devlin knows she has maybe half a second to live. The M4 is underneath her. She can't bring it up fast enough, so she doesn't try. She rolls, right shoulder, uses her momentum to slam into his legs. He's off balance moving, and when she hits him, he goes down hard. The AK flies from his hands. They're on the ground together, him on his back, her half on top of him, and for a frozen moment, they just stare at each other. He's terrified. She can see it. He's a kid, somebody's son, probably got recruited because his village needed money or protection or both. Different circumstances, she'd let him run. These circumstances, he's between her and 6 dying Marines. Her hand finds a rock. Basalt, size of a softball. She brings it down on his temple with every bit of strength she has left. The sound is wet and final. He stops moving. She rolls off him, lies there breathing, shaking. She's killed people before. From the air, through the scope of door-mounted guns, clean, distant. You press a button and people become past tense. This is different. She can feel his blood on her hands. No time. No time for this. Process it later. Move now. She grabs his AK, checks the magazine. 20 rounds, better than nothing, 30 meters left. 20, 10, a voice from the depression. Contact front, Taliban fighter, 50 meters, poppy field. Someone's aiming at her, friendly, friendly. She's screaming it. I'm the pilot, Valkyrie, don't shoot. Ceasefire, ceasefire. Different voice. Authority. It's the pilot. Cover her approach. Rifles crack overhead, suppressing fire, giving her space to move. The last 10 meters take everything. Her vision is tunneling. Black creeping in from the edges. She can feel her body shutting down. Blood pressure dropping. Shock setting in, but she makes it. Hands grab her, pull her down into the ditch. She lands on her back, staring up at a sky that's too blue for a day like this. A face appears above her, older than the others, 30-something. Sergeant's chevrons, face covered in dust and blood that might not be his. Ma'am, can you hear me? She nods. Can't quite make words happen yet. Jesus Christ, he's looking at her leg. Somebody get a tourniquet. Now, the Marines. She forces the words out. Are they? We're alive because of you. He's applying pressure above her knee. The pain is extraordinary. 6 of us left, 3 critical. You brought medical supplies. She gestures weakly to the kit on her back. He pulls it off, tosses it to someone else. Who are you? She asks. Sergeant Colton Briggs. That's Corman Quinn trying to keep Lennox Wade from bleeding out. That's Private Beckett Stone over there, still conscious despite the shrapnel in his everything. And Garrison. She remembers. Garrett Garrison. Where is he? Here, ma'am. Another face, this one young, 19, left arm hanging wrong, bent at an angle that makes her stomach turn. But he's conscious, functional. His eyes are blue, just like his father's. Your arm. Broken in 3 places, ma'am. Compound fracture. I've had worse. He hasn't. She can see he hasn't. but he's lying to keep her from worrying, which means he's a good Marine or a good actor or both. Your father sent me, she says quietly. Just to him. He knows where you are. He's watching. Something crosses Garrett's face. Relief, fear, anger, love. All of it compressed into a single expression that she doesn't have the training to read. He shouldn't have risked you for, he didn't risk me, I volunteered. She tries to sit up. Briggs pushes her back down. What's our tactical situation? Briggs doesn't sugarcoat it. Surrounded, 3 sides, at least 20 Taliban fighters we can confirm. Probably more. We're down to maybe 60 rounds total. No grenades, no heavy weapons. Air support is delayed, I know. How long? She checks her watch. The crystal is cracked, but it still works. 27 minutes. We don't have 27 minutes. They're going to rush us in the next 10. Then we hold for 10. She looks around the depression. 6 Marines, 3 who can still fight, 2 who are trying, 1 who's unconscious and might not wake up. And her, with a leg that's more liability than asset and a rifle she can barely lift. The math is bad. Everybody listen up. She makes her voice carry, command voice, the one Garrison taught her to use when men need to believe in something. My name is Captain Devlin Ashford. I flew into hell to pull you out, and I'm not leaving without you. We're going to hold this position for 27 minutes. Then Apache gunships are going to turn this field into a parking lot, and then we're all going home. Stone, the one with shrapnel wounds, he actually laughs. With respect, ma'am, you look half dead. I am half dead, so let's make sure that's the half that doesn't matter. Briggs grins. It's a terrible grin. The kind that happens when the situation is so bad that humor is the only sane response. What do you need from us, ma'am? Ammo count, current, exact numbers. 58 rounds, 7.62, 17 rounds, 5.56, 2 magazines, 9mm. Casualties who can still shoot. Me Bond, Stone, Garrison, if you count one-handed. Quinn's got his hands full keeping Wade alive. 3.5 shooters against 20 plus. All right, Stone, you take the east approach, Briggs south, then boom. Garrison, you're my ammo runner, I'll take north. She looks at Quinn. How's Wade? The corpsman doesn't look up from his work. Bleeding controlled, barely. He needs a surgeon in the next hour or he's done. He'll get one. She keys her radio. Home plate actual Valkyrie. Static, then, go ahead, Valkyrie. I'm on the ground with your package. 6 souls, 3 critical. We are surrounded and low on ammunition. Apache ETA. 26 minutes. We'll be here. A pause. Devlin, he uses her first name. First time in 11 months. I need you to understand something. If they overrun your position, you don't let them take you alive. She knows what he means. Everyone knows what he means. The Taliban's treatment of captured female soldiers is something briefed in rooms where the lights are dim and nobody makes eye contact afterward. Understood, sir. I'm sorry I put you in this position. Don't be. I volunteered. She looks at Garrett. The kid is watching her, listening. And I'd do it again. She cuts the transmission before he can respond. 1817 hours. The first rush comes at 1817. Not a coordinated assault, just 3 Taliban fighters who decide that 6 Americans in a hole should be easy picking. They come from the east, firing from the hip, screaming something that might be prayer or fury or both. Stone drops the first one at 40 meters. Single shot. Center mass. Devlin takes the second at 30. 2 shots, 1 misses, 1 doesn't. The third gets to 20 meters before Briggs puts him down. Silence after, just the ringing in everyone's ears and the smell of cordite. Ammo count, Devlin says, 53 rounds. Briggs reports, 5 rounds spent, 23 minutes remaining. The math is getting worse. 1823 hours. The radio crackles, not Apache updates, something else. Colonel Thornton's voice, tight, controlled, the kind of control that means barely contained fury. Lieutenant Ashford, this is Campbell 6. You violated direct orders, 2 KIA, reckless endangerment. When you return, if you return, you will face court-martial. Devlin doesn't have energy to respond. Briggs looks at her. She shakes her head. Save the ammo. Then another voice. Garrison, but different now, raw. Campbell 6 home plate actual. That pilot is saving my son. The frequency goes silent. Devlin's eyes snap open. Garrett looks at her, understanding dawning. Thornton's voice returns, quieter. Frank, Garrett is Lance Corporal Garrett Garrison, 19 years old. Your grid, my boy. Garrison's voice cracks, just slightly. She's down there bleeding out because I asked her to, because I couldn't lose him. 10 seconds of dead air. Then Thornton, my nephew, is there too. Private Lennox Wade, my sister's only son. Another pause. Thornton again, Ashford. If you can hear this, bring them home. All of them, whatever it takes. The transmission ends. Garrett is staring at Devlin. You knew. The whole time my father sent you. He asked me to watch out for you. I volunteered to come. Because of him. Because of you. Because it was right. She checks her watch through failing vision. 16 minutes. We hold for 16 more minutes. 1839 hours. The third rush is overwhelming. All of them. Every Taliban fighter left. 15, maybe 20. Coming from 3 sides simultaneously. Coordinated. Professional. This is their killing stroke. Devlin is barely conscious when it starts. She hears the gunfire as if through water. Sees muzzle flashes like distant fireworks. Her rifle is in her hands, but she's not sure she's actually firing it. The trigger pulls. Rounds go down range. Whether they hit anything is someone else's problem. Briggs is shouting orders. Stone is firing controlled bursts. Garrett, one-handed, barely standing, is doing something with a rifle. And then, the sound that changes everything, not gunfire, something bigger, deeper. The sound of rotors cutting air. Heavy rotors. Apache rotors. Air support inbound. Someone screaming it. Maybe Briggs. Maybe her. Danger close. Get down, get down. The Apache gunship arrives like the Old Testament God. All wrath, all fury. The 30mm chain gun opens up. Each round is the size of a beer bottle. They hit the earth at nearly 4,000 feet per second. What happens to human bodies at that velocity isn't combat. It's erasure. The Taliban rush breaks, stops, reverses. Men running back the way they came, except there's nowhere to run because the second Apache is orbiting from the north, and its Hellfire missiles turn the poppy field into Revelation. Devlin watches through vision that's mostly black now, watches the fire and smoke and the complete transformation of terrain, watches death delivered from above with the efficiency that modern militaries have perfected. She's done this, been on the other side. Been the one in the bird delivering salvation to people who thought they were already dead. Now she's the one being saved. The irony would be funny if she could still process humor. The gunfire stops. Someone is shaking her shoulder. Briggs. His mouth is moving, but she can't hear words anymore. Just ringing. Just static. She tries to say something. Can't remember what. The sky is very blue. And then it's black. Later, she wakes up on a medevac bird. Different bird, larger, louder. Her leg is stabilized. IV in her arm. Medic hovering over her with that expression they all get. The one that says you should be dead, but somehow you're not. She tries to sit up. Hands push her down. Easy, ma'am. Easy. You're safe. Everyone's safe. Everyone. She needs to confirm that. Needs to know. The Marines, she manages, voice like sandpaper. 6 Marines. Are they all alive, ma'am? All 6. You got them out. She closes her eyes, lets that sink in. All 6. She kept her promise to Wyatt. Later hour days, there's a debriefing, or the beginning of one. People in clean uniforms asking questions she can barely understand. There's going to be an investigation. 2 dead crew members. Violation of orders. Property damage. The military loves its investigations. Let them investigate. She saved 6 lives. That's the only math that matters. At some point, General Garrison is there, standing next to her bed in a hospital that might be in Germany. His face is older than she remembers. Or maybe she's just seeing him clearly for the first time. Garrett, she asks. Alive, recovering. He's going to keep the arm. Garrison sits down heavily, looks at her for a long time. You kept your promise. Yes, sir. I'm sorry for asking that of you, for putting you in that position. Don't be. She's tired, so tired. Someone had to. Better me than someone who couldn't. He nods, starts to say something, stops, starts again. Lieutenant Ashford. Captain Ashford, as of 3 hours ago, I'm recommending you for the Silver Star. She doesn't respond. Medals seem abstract, meaningless. Bryn Mackey is dead. Wyatt Hollis is dead. She's alive, and that already feels like more reward than she deserves. And there's going to be a court-martial, Garrison continues. Colonel Thornton is pushing for it. Unauthorized flight into hostile territory. 2 deaths. He's saying you were reckless, that you proved his point about women in combat. And what do you say, sir? I say you're the bravest pilot I've ever commanded, and if they court-martial you, I'll resign my commission and testify on your behalf. He stands. Get some rest, Captain. This isn't over, but you're not fighting it alone. He leaves. She closes her eyes. The morphine pulls her under, and in her dreams she's crawling again, always crawling through poppies that never end, toward voices that keep calling, toward people who need saving, toward 200 meters that somehow contain everything she is. Landstuhl Regional Medical Center, Germany, May 20, 2024. She wakes to white ceiling tiles and the smell of disinfectant, trying to mask something worse underneath. Medical facilities all smell the same, like they're fighting a war against death and only winning on technicalities. Her left leg is elevated, wrapped in bandages that go from hip to toe. She can't feel it. That's either very good or very bad. A doctor is standing at the foot of her bed. Major, late 40s, the kind of face that's delivered bad news so many times it's worn grooves. Captain Ashford, you're awake. How do you feel? She takes inventory. Head aches, chest hurts. Everything else is a dull roar of generalized pain except for the left leg, which is broadcasting nothing. Like I crashed a helicopter. He doesn't smile. You've been unconscious for 5 days. You sustained multiple fractures to the left femur tibia and complete destruction of the ankle joint. 3 cracked ribs, dislocated shoulder, severe blood loss, and sepsis. Sepsis. That's the word that matters. The leg, he pulls up a chair, sits down. When doctors sit down, the news gets worse. The fractures we can fix. The bone will heal, but the infection spread faster than we anticipated. We've been pumping you full of antibiotics for 5 days. It's not responding adequately. She already knows where this is going, has known since she woke up. You don't feel nothing in a leg that's still attached. You're recommending amputation. Below the knee, we can save the knee joint, which means you'll have good prosthetic function. You'll walk again. You might even run, but the alternative is risking the infection spreading to your bloodstream. Septic shock, organ failure, death. He says it clinically, like he's describing a weather system. How long do I have to decide? Shaw, you've already had 5 days. The infection is still progressing. I need an answer by tomorrow morning. After he leaves, she lies there staring at the ceiling tiles, counting them, losing count, starting over. 26 years old, about to lose a leg. She thinks about calling someone, her ex-husband Owen maybe, but they haven't spoken since the divorce papers were signed. And what would she say? Hey, remember how you said I was married to the military instead of you? Turns out you were right. Now the military is taking my leg. She thinks about calling Ivy, her daughter, 4 years old, living in Austin with Owen and his new girlfriend. But what do you say to a 4-year-old, mommy's gonna have a different leg when you see her next? Like a robot. Won't that be fun? She doesn't call anyone. At 2300 hours, there's a knock on the door. Come in. General Frank Garrison enters. He's in civilian clothes, jeans, button-down shirt. She's never seen him in anything but uniform. It makes him look older, more human, more tired. He pulls up the chair the doctor used, sits in the same spot. Heard you've got a decision to make. News travels fast. I flew 14 hours to get here. Figured the least you could do is be awake when I arrived. She almost smiles. How's Garrett? Asking about my son before asking about yourself. That's either heroic or stupid. Can it be both? Now he smiles, barely. He's recovering. Fort Sam Houston. They pinned his arm back together with enough metal to set off airport detectors for the rest of his life. but he'll keep it. Full function expected in 6 months. Good. He wanted to come. I told him to focus on his own recovery. Garrison leans forward. Devlin, may I call you Devlin? Yes, sir. Frank, if we're going to have this conversation, you call me Frank. She's never called him Frank, never called any superior officer by their first name. It feels wrong, insubordinate, but he's waiting. Okay, Frank, your father was a firefighter, died when you were 9, went back into a burning building for 3 kids. She stiffens. How do you know that? I know everything about the people I train. It's my job. He leans back. You know what I learned from his service record? He went back in 3 times, got all 3 kids. Didn't die saving them. Died because on the 4th trip, he went back for a dog. German Shepherd. Family pet. She didn't know that. Never knew that. The smoke got him on the way out. They found him in the hallway 20 feet from the exit. Dog was already dead from smoke inhalation. So he died for nothing. The words land like a slap. That's not let me finish. His voice is gentle. He died for nothing except the principle that you don't leave anyone behind, not even a dog. Because once you start making exceptions, once you start deciding who's worth saving and who's not, you become something else, something smaller. He stands, walks to the window, looks out at the German countryside. My wife died 3 years ago, cancer, aggressive. She fought for 18 months. Near the end, the pain was so bad she begged me to help her die. Morphine overdose. Easy. Peaceful. I could have done it. Devlin waits. I didn't, because I thought fighting was noble. I thought suffering meant she was strong. I thought I was supporting her by making her endure. He turns back. I was wrong. She didn't need me to make her be strong. She needed me to give her permission to stop fighting. Frank, you saved 6 men. 2 of them will probably leave the Marines with PTSD and spend the next 40 years trying to figure out how to live with what they saw. One of them, Lennox Wade, Colonel Thornton's nephew, he's already talking about suicide. The corpsman Quinn, he's drinking. A lot, more than he should. What are you saying? I'm saying the men you saved their lives aren't fairy tales now. They're just lives, complicated, messy. Some of them might wish you'd left them there. She feels anger rising. You want me to regret saving them? No. He comes back to the chair. Sits. I want you to understand that there's no perfect outcome. You can do everything right and people still suffer. You can sacrifice everything and the people you save still break. Life isn't a mission with clear success criteria. Then what is it? It's a series of impossible choices where you do your best and then live with the consequences. He looks at her leg. That leg is gone, Devlin. Whether they cut it off tomorrow or you fight the infection for another week and lose it anyway. It's gone. The only question is whether you're going to let it take the rest of you with it. I'm a pilot. You're not a pilot. You're a person who flies helicopters. There's a difference. He stands. Your father didn't die for a dog. He died because he was the kind of man who went back. That's what you inherited from him. Not the job, the impulse, and that doesn't require 2 working legs. He walks to the door, stops. Garrett wants to name his daughter after you. Devlin Grace Garrison. His wife is pregnant, 4 months. He doesn't know if it's a girl yet, but he's already decided. If it's a girl, she's Devlin. Frank, take the surgery, live, figure out the rest later. He leaves. She lies there for another hour. Then she presses the call button. When the nurse comes, Devlin says, tell the doctor I'm ready, tomorrow morning, do it. June, August 2024. The surgery takes 6 hours. When she wakes up, her left leg ends just below the knee. The stump is bandaged, draining. She doesn't look at it for 3 days. Physical therapy starts on day 4. The therapist is a woman named Sloan, mid-20s, blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail that Devlin immediately envies because her own hair is a greasy mess from bed rest. Sloan is relentlessly positive in that way that makes you want to punch walls. Okay, Captain Ashford, today we're going to... I'm sorry. Call me Dev. If you're going to torture me for the next 3 months, we should at least be on a first-name basis. Sloan smiles. Fair enough. I'm Sloan Hollis. The name registers like a bullet. Hollis, Yeah, you knew my brother. Staff Sergeant Wyatt Hollis. He was your crew chief. The room goes very quiet. Devlin can't speak, can't look at her, because what do you say to the sister of a man who died in your arms? What words exist for that? He talked about you, Sloan continues, called you Valkyrie, said you were the best pilot he'd ever flown with, said you'd go into places that made veteran pilots quit. I'm sorry. It's all Devlin can manage. I'm so sorry. He died because he died doing his job, saving Marines. That's what he signed up for. Sloane's voice is steady, professional. And you crawled 200 meters with a shattered leg to keep his promise. So no, you don't get to apologize to me. She sets up the parallel bars. Now, let's teach you how to walk. The next 12 weeks are archaeology. Devlin excavates a new version of herself from the rubble of the old one. Learning to walk with a prosthetic is like learning a language by reading the dictionary. Technically possible, practically agonizing. The prosthetic weighs 5 pounds but feels like 50. The socket rubs her stump raw. She falls 47 times in the first week. Sloan is there for all of them. Again. Devlin pulls herself up, takes 3 steps, falls. Again. 5 steps, falls. Again. By week 3, she's walking the length of the parallel bars. By week 6, she's walking without them. By week 8, she's walking outside. Real ground, uneven surfaces. The kind of terrain that doesn't care about your disability. But the physical therapy is the easy part. The nights are harder. She dreams about the crash. Every night, same dream, different details. Sometimes Mackie is still alive when they hit. Sometimes Hollis bleeds out slower. Sometimes she doesn't make it to the Marines and she just lies in the poppies while they die screaming her call sign. She wakes up gasping, drenched in sweat, reaching for a leg that's not there anymore. The VA assigns her a psychiatrist, Dr. Helen Carter, 50-something, gray hair, eyes that have heard every story and still somehow care about the next one. Tell me about the nightmares, Dr. Carter says in their third session. I dream about failing, about not getting there in time. But you did get there in time. Mackie and Hollis didn't. No, they didn't. Dr. Carter writes something. Do you feel responsible for their deaths? I was the pilot. That's not what I asked. Devlin looks at her hands. I flew into a no-fly zone. Against orders. I made the call. They died because of my call. Did you force them to fly with you? No. Did they know it was dangerous? Yes. Did they believe in the mission? Devlin thinks about Hollis saying, get them, with his last breath. Yes. Then maybe they didn't die because of your call. Maybe they died because of theirs. It should help. That logic should make the nightmares stop. It doesn't. September 2024. Owen calls in September. The call comes at 2200 hours. She almost doesn't answer, but it might be about Ivy, so she does. Dev. Owen. Silence. The kind of silence that used to be filled with easier things. Before deployments, before divorce, before... How are you, he asks. Learning to walk. You... I heard about everything. The crash, the leg. I'm sorry. Thanks. More silence. Ivy asks about you. A lot. She wants to know when you're coming home. Home, like that's a place that still exists for her. I'm in D.C., recovery. It'll be a while. Dev. His voice changes, gets harder. She's 4 years old. She needs her mother. I'm trying. You chose them. The military, the mission. You chose strangers over your own daughter. The words are old. She's heard them before, during the fights that led to the divorce. I saved 6 people, Owen. 6 sons who get to go home to their families. And what about Ivy? What about our family? We're not a family anymore. You made that clear when you filed. Because you were never here. Even when you were home, you were gone. Always thinking about the next deployment. The next mission. He's not wrong. That's the worst part. He's not wrong. I'm a soldier, Owen. This is what I do. No, you're a mother. That's what you're supposed to do. But you can't even do that anymore because you're too busy being a hero. She hangs up, sits on the edge of her bed in her Walter Reed room, and stares at the prosthetic leaning against the wall. Stares at it until the outline blurs. She doesn't cry. Hasn't cried since Germany. Crying is for people who have time for it. At 2300 hours, her phone rings again. She ignores it. At 23:30, there's a knock on her door. Go away. The door opens anyway. General Garrison, in uniform this time, late for a social call. Heard you had a conversation with your ex-husband. How do you know that? I know everything. It's annoying for you and exhausting for me. He sits in the chair by her bed, the one that's starting to have a permanent indent from his visits. What did he say? That I'm a terrible mother, that I chose the mission over my daughter, that I'm playing hero while my kid grows up without me. Is he right? She looks at him. I don't know, maybe, probably. Your father missed your 9th birthday because he was fighting a warehouse fire. 3 days later, he died in a house fire. You think he was a terrible father? That's different. How he was saving people. So were you. He didn't survive. Neither did the woman who flew that Black Hawk into Helmand Province. She died in the crash. You're someone new now. Different mission, different capabilities. Same impulse. He stands, walks to the window. It's dark outside, DC at night. Lights trying to hold back the dark and mostly succeeding. I wasn't there when my wife got sick. Not really, I was deployed. Then I was at the Pentagon. Then I was training pilots. I'd come home for a weekend and tell myself that was enough. That she understood. That duty required sacrifice. He turns back. She died while I was briefing the Joint Chiefs on helicopter tactics. My son called me. I was in the middle of a PowerPoint presentation about rotor dynamics. I saw his name on my phone and I sent it to voicemail because the briefing was important. Frank. By the time I called back, she'd been dead for 45 minutes. My son sat with her body alone because I was explaining the tactical advantages of the UH-60 over the UH-60L. He sits back down. I'm not telling you this for sympathy. I'm telling you because every person who serves makes these choices. Duty or family, mission or home, and there's no right answer, just consequences you have to live with. So what do? You decide who you are now. The pilot is gone. That version of you died in Germany, but the person who crawled 200 meters, she's still here. Figure out what she's going to do next. October 2024, the Silver Star ceremony happens on October 15th. Pentagon, formal dress uniforms, Odisha photographers, people who've never been shot at making speeches about valor. Devlin stands at attention in her Class A uniform. The prosthetic is hidden under her pants leg. To everyone watching, she looks whole. Only she can feel the phantom pain where her left foot used to be. General Garrison pins the medal above her heart. His hands are steady. Hers are shaking. The citation is read aloud. Someone's sanitized version of events. Makes it sound like a movie. Heroic. Clean. Doesn't mention that she threw up twice from pain while crawling. Doesn't mention Mackey's dead eyes. Doesn't mention the Taliban fighter whose skull she caved in with a rock. The audience applauds. She doesn't smile. Can't. This medal weighs 3 ounces and feels like 300 pounds. After the ceremony in the reception area, the 6 Marines find her. Sergeant Colton Briggs, healed, walking with a slight limp that mirrors hers. Private Beckett, stone. Scars on his face from shrapnel that the surgeons couldn't fully erase. Corpsman Thatcher Quinn, sober today, but she can smell the effort it's taking. Private Lennox Wade, Colonel Thornton's nephew. Thin, too thin, eyes that look past her instead of at her. And Garrett Garrison, arm functional, uniform crisp, standing next to his father. They salute her. She returns it. Captain Ashford, Briggs says, we wanted to thank you, all of us, for what you did. I did my job. No, ma'am, you did more than that. You kept your promise. They talk for a few minutes. Small talk. Recovery updates. Who's staying in? Who's getting out? It's painfully normal. Like they're all pretending that May 15th was just another day. When they leave, only Garrett remains. Ma'am, my father told me about the training, about how he asked you to look out for me, about how you knew who I was before you even got to us. Garrett, I'm not mad. I get it, but I need you to know something. He looks uncomfortable, like he's about to confess a crime. I wish you hadn't come. I wish you'd stayed with the wreck. Let us handle it, because then Mackey and Hollis would still be alive. The words hit like a mortar round. You don't mean that. I do. Every day I wake up and I'm alive because you're not whole. That's not a trade I would have made. You don't get to make that trade. I did. I know. That's what makes it worse. He stands at attention, salutes. Thank you for my life, Captain. I'll try to deserve it. He walks away before she can respond. Garrison appears at her elbow. He doesn't mean it. Yes, he does. Okay, he means it. But he's wrong. You gave him a chance to be wrong. That's the gift. Across the room, she sees Colonel Thornton. He's in full dress uniform, medals covering his chest like armor. He's watching her. Their eyes meet. He walks over. This is it. The confrontation she's been expecting for 5 months. The man who said she didn't belong, who tried to ground her, who was proven catastrophically right about the post and devastatingly wrong about the outcome. He stops in front of her, looks at the silver star. Captain Ashford. Colonel Thornton. Silence. The kind that feels like a grenade with the pin pulled. Then my nephew is alive because of you, Lennox. He's struggling, PTSD, nightmares, but he's alive. Yes, sir. I was wrong about you, not about the pui. 2 good people died, but about whether you could do the job. He hesitates. I spent 29 years believing that women in combat was political correctness gone mad, that it would get people killed. And then you went and proved that women in combat get people killed the same way men in combat get people killed, by making impossible choices in situations that don't have good options. Sir, I'm not apologizing. I still think the standards should be the same, that nobody should get special treatment. But you didn't ask for special treatment. You asked for a chance, and you earned what you got. He extends his hand. I'm recommending you for instructor duty, Fort Rucker, teaching the next generation of combat pilots. If you're interested. She shakes his hand. I'll think about it, sir. He nods, walks away. Garrison appears again. You going to take it? I don't know, maybe. Teaching sounds safe, quiet. It is, which is why you'll hate it within 6 months. You don't know that. I know you. You're your father's daughter. You need to save people. Teaching won't scratch that itch. Then what will, he grins. It's the first time she's seen him genuinely smile in months. I have an idea, but you're not going to like it. November 2024. The court-martial threat comes in November. Board of Inquiry, formal charges, violation of direct orders, reckless endangerment. 2 deaths resulting from unauthorized flight into hostile territory. Colonel Thornton, despite his change of heart, can't stop it. The military loves its accountability, needs its lessons learned, demands its scapegoats. The hearing is set for December 15th. Denver, neutral territory, panel of 5 officers who weren't there. Don't understand. We'll judge her anyway. Garrison tells her not to worry. He'll testify. The Marines will testify. It'll be fine. She doesn't believe him. On November 28th, she flies back to Austin for Thanksgiving. Owen agreed to let her see Ivy, 3 hours. Supervised, at a park. She gets there early, sits on a bench watching children play. Normal children with normal families. Fathers pushing swings, mothers wiping noses, everyone whole. Owen arrives with Ivy at 1400. Ivy sees her, doesn't recognize her at first. She hasn't seen Devlin in 19 months. In kid time, that's an eternity. Ivy, Owen says gently, remember Mommy? Ivy looks at her, big eyes, uncertain. Devlin kneels down, puts herself at kid height, notices that kneeling is different now. The prosthetic doesn't bend quite right. Hey baby, I missed you. You were gone a long time. I was. I'm sorry. Daddy said you were helping people. Were you by I tried to. Did it work? Honest answer partially. 6 people lived, 2 died, she lost a leg. The math is complicated, but Ivy is 4, so yes, it worked. Okay, Ivy accepts this with the easy certainty of childhood. Can we go on the swings? They spend 3 hours at the park, swings, slides, monkey bars that Devlin can't do anymore but pretends she could if she wanted to. Owen watches from a distance, gives them space. At 1700, Ivy asks, are you coming home? Not yet, baby. I have some things I need to do first. More helping people. Something like that. Will you come back after a yes? Promise. She thinks about all the promises she's made. To Garrison, to Hollis, to herself. Promises that cost pieces of her she can't get back. I promise. Ivy hugs her, small arms around her neck. She smells like apple juice and playground dirt and innocence. When Owen takes her back, Ivy waves until they're out of sight. Devlin sits on the bench until dark, watching the empty playground, thinking about promises. December 2024, December 14th, the day before the court-martial hearing. Devlin stands at gate 27. Different gate, same demons. She's been here before. 19 months ago in her mind. 7 months ago in this terminal. She remembers the laughter, the mocking, the 4 soldiers who didn't know. This time she's ready. The terminal is crowded. Holiday travel, families, soldiers, the usual chaos. And then she sees him. General Frank Garrison, 20 feet ahead, not supposed to be here, supposed to testify via video, but he's here. Their eyes meet across the crowd. 20 feet ahead, a man stands frozen. Silver hair, 3 stars. Garrison. He's supposed to be in D.C., testifying tomorrow via video conference. But he's here, in person. His eyes lock onto her metal. And then in a movement she'll remember for the rest of her life, this decorated general, this man who commanded thousands, who trained her, who believed in her when no one else did. He drops to both knees right there. Gate 27, between a Starbucks and a Hudson News. The terminal doesn't go silent, but it goes quiet. Captain Ashford, his voice carries, not loud, definitive. Thank you for bringing my son home. Behind him, 4 soldiers go rigid. Pierce's face drains of color. The one recording stops, lowers his phone. Garrison stands, walks to her. In front of everyone, he salutes. She returns it. Sir, you didn't have to. Yes, I did. He lowers his hand. These men need to understand something. That limp, you earned it, saving 6 Marines under enemy fire. That star, 3rd highest combat decoration this country can give. You are a hero, Captain, and I won't let anyone forget it. He turns to the 4 soldiers. They're at attention now, looking like they want the earth to swallow them. You 4, names and units, now. They stammer through it. Pierce, Corporal, Fort Benning, the others follow. You just mocked a Silver Star recipient, a combat pilot who flew into hell and pulled out 6 men. You think that's funny? Corporal, no, sir. I'm sorry, sir. Don't apologize to me. Apologize to her. Pierce looks at Devlin, struggles with words. Ma'am, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I just saw the limp, and I thought, you thought I was faking. Devlin's voice is quiet. You thought I was stolen valor. Some wannabe playing soldier. Yes, ma'am. She walks closer, stops in front of him. He's taller than her by 6 inches, outweighs her by 60 pounds. But right now he looks small. I had PTSD, Pierce blurts out. From Iraq, 2 tours, saw my sergeant die. I came home and everyone expected me to be fine. And I wasn't. I started drinking, got in fights, saw your limp, and it reminded me that I'm broken too. And he's crying now, actually crying. The other 3 soldiers look away. I don't know why I did it, he continues. Seeing someone else hurt made me feel less alone or less weak or something, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Devlin studies him, sees the pain under the cruelty, sees her own reflection. Broken people breaking others to feel less broken. What's your first name? Corporal. Dalton, ma'am. Dalton, you have PTSD. Yes, ma'am, diagnosed. But I don't want to take medication. Don't want it on my record. The medication isn't weakness. The nightmares are your brain trying to process trauma. Fighting it alone isn't brave, it's stupid. He nods, can't speak. You want to learn something from this, stop suffering in silence. Talk to someone. Get help before it destroys you. She pulls out her phone, types something. Give me your number. He does, fumbling with his phone. She sends him a contact. That's General Garrison's office. Tell them I sent you. They'll set you up with the right people. People who understand. Ma'am, I don't deserve. What you deserve and what you need are different things. Take the help, Dalton. She walks away. Garrison follows. At the gate, she sits down. He sits next to her. That was good, he says. What you did. He's broken, like me. You're not broken. You're rebuilt. There's a difference. Is there? Yes. He opens his bag, pulls out a folder. The court-martial. It's done. She stares at him. What? I called in favors. Thornton testified early. All 6 Marines submitted written statements. The panel reviewed everything this morning. Charges dropped. You're cleared. Frank, you flew into a no-fly zone under my direct authorization. I violated Thornton's order, not you. You followed lawful command authority. The panel agreed. Case closed. She can't process it. 19 months of waiting, of wondering, of preparing for the end of her career. Over. Just like that. I don't know what to say. Say yes. To what? He pulls out another paper. Official letterhead, Department of Defense. Fort Rucker Aviation School, Chief Instructor position. Training the next generation of combat pilots. Teaching them what you learned. Making sure the women who come after you have someone who understands. She reads it. The offer is generous. Good pay, housing, normal hours, safety, everything she thought she wanted. And if I say no, then I have another offer, experimental program, training civilians with disabilities for emergency response aviation, medical evacuations, disaster relief, same flying, different enemy. Instead of Taliban, you're fighting floods and fires and earthquakes. Flying with a prosthetic. The FAA cleared it last month, as long as you pass the medical evaluation, which you will, because you're stubborn and I trained you. She looks at him, this man who believed in her, who pushed her, who lost his wife and saved his son and somehow still found time to save her too. Why are you doing this? Because 3 years ago, my wife told me to stop protecting people from their own courage. So I'm not protecting you. I'm getting out of your way. She looks at both offers, safety or risk, teaching or doing, past or future. Can I think about it? You have 48 hours, then I need an answer. 6 months later, June 2025, Denver International Airport. Same terminal, different day. Devlin walks through gate 27 with confidence now. The limp is still there, always will be, but it's hers, earned, owned. Sloan Hollis walks next to her. They're friends now, more than friends. Sloan moved to D.C. to continue working with wounded veterans. Lives 2 blocks from Devlin's apartment. They have coffee every morning, talk about Wyatt sometimes, about how he'd be proud of them both. Today they're meeting someone, Garrett Garrison. He's flying in from North Carolina. Camp Lejeune. Finished his enlistment. Decided not to re-enlist. Going to college instead. Chapel Hill. Pre-med. Wants to be a surgeon. Says he wants to put people back together instead of taking them apart. He's bringing his family, his wife Elizabeth, and his daughter. 9 months old, born in November. Healthy, perfect. Named Devlin Grace Garrison. They're waiting at the gate when Garrett comes through. He's in civilian clothes, jeans, Marine's t-shirt, carrying his daughter in one arm and a diaper bag in the other. Elizabeth walks beside him, smiling. She looks exhausted in that new parent way. When Garrett sees Devlin, he stops, sets down the bag, shifts the baby carefully. Captain Ashford. Garrett, I told you to call me Dev. Dev, he smiles. This is Elizabeth. And this, he holds out the baby, is Devlin. Devlin takes her, 9 months old, tiny, impossibly fragile, eyes that are starting to show blue, like her father's, like her grandfather's. The baby grabs Devlin's finger, squeezes with surprising strength. She's perfect. She is, and when she's old enough to understand, I'm going to tell her about the woman she's named after, about how you crawled through hell to save 6 strangers, about how you gave up your leg so I could keep my life. Garrett, let me finish. His voice is serious. I was angry at the ceremony, said I wished you hadn't come. That was wrong, selfish. I'm not glad you lost your leg, but I'm grateful you were there. Grateful you didn't give up. Grateful my daughter will have a father. He takes the baby back. Thank you, Dev, for everything. They talk for a while about his plans, medical school, Elizabeth's teaching job, the house they're buying in Durham, normal life things, future things. When they leave, Devlin watches them walk away. Young family, whole, moving forward. She feels Sloane's hand on her shoulder. You okay? Yeah, I'm good. General Garrison is waiting at baggage claim. Said he has something to show you. They walk down to baggage claim. Garrison is there talking to someone Devlin doesn't recognize at first. Then she does. Dalton Pierce, the corporal from 6 months ago. The one who mocked her, who cried, who she gave Garrison's number. He looks different, healthier, standing straighter, eyes clearer. When he sees her, he walks over, extends his hand. Captain Ashford, I wanted to thank you. I called the number you gave me. Started therapy. Got on medication. It's not perfect. I still have nightmares, but I'm better. I'm glad, Dalton. I'm transferring to combat medicine. Going to train as a flight medic. General Garrison pulled some strings. Said you might need crew. She looks at Garrison. You're hiring my crew now. You said yes to the emergency response program. I'm just making sure you have good people. I said I'd think about it. You thought. For 6 months, that's long enough. He hands her a tablet. First mission brief, wildfire evacuation. Montana, civilian population trapped. Local helicopters grounded due to smoke. They need someone crazy enough to fly through it. She reads the brief, remembers Afghanistan, remembers brownout landings, remembers flying blind through conditions that grounded everyone else, remembers being Valkyrie. When do we leave? Tomorrow, 0600. You, me, and Corporal Pierce here as crew chief. You ready? She looks at the tablet, at the mission, at the chance to save people again. Looks at Sloane, who nods. Looks at Pierce, who stands at attention waiting. Looks at Garrison, who's smiling like he knew her answer before she did. Yes, sir, I'm ready. They walk toward the exit, through the terminal, past gate 27 where this all started. Soldiers pass them. Some notice her limp. Some notice the silver star. Most don't notice anything. But one young woman, Air Force lieutenant, flight wings on her chest, she stops. Stares at Devlin, at the medal. Ma'am, are you Captain Ashford? Yes. I'm Lieutenant Sarah Brennan. I'm starting flight school next month. My instructor showed us your citation. You're the reason I joined, the reason I'm trying for combat aviation. She hesitates. Is it true what they say you did? Devlin thinks about May 15th, the crash, the crawl, the promise, the cotton, the 19 months since. Thinks about Mackey and Hollis, about 6 Marines who went home, about a baby girl named Devlin Grace, about Dalton Pierce getting help, about a future where women fly combat missions because someone proved it was possible. Yes, she says, it's true. Thank you, ma'am, for showing us it can be done. The lieutenant salutes. Devlin returns it. They walk outside into June sunshine. Denver summer, hot and clear. A helicopter waits on a nearby pad. Not military, civilian, white with red crosses, emergency response markings. Her new bird. Garrison stops at the base of the stairs. Your father died going back into a burning building. Saved 3 kids. Lost his life for a dog he couldn't let die alone. He looks at her. You're not going to die today, or tomorrow, or for a long time. But when you do, people are going to tell stories. About the pilot who crawled 200 meters, who lost her leg but not her mission, who proved that courage doesn't require 2 working legs or a Y chromosome. Frank, I'm proud of you, Dev. Your father would be proud. And those 6 Marines, they're going to live full lives because you refused to quit. That's not a bad legacy. She climbs into the helicopter, settles into the pilot's seat, feels the controls under her hands, the prosthetic on the rudder pedal. Different than before, but functional. Pierce climbs in back, starts his pre-flight checks. Garrison stands at the door. Last chance to back out. Choose the easy path. Teach from a safe classroom. She starts the engine, feels the rotor begin to turn. That familiar whoop, 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 that means flight. That means purpose. I'm my father's daughter, sir. Safe was never an option. He smiles, steps back, closes the door. The helicopter lifts. and Captain Devlin Ashford Silver Star, recipient combat pilot woman who crawled through hell and came back different but unbroken flies toward Montana, towards smoke and fire and people who need saving. Flies toward the next mission, the next promise, the next 200 meters. Below in the terminal, past Gate 27, life continues. Travelers rushing to catch flights, families reuniting, soldiers deploying and returning. Some of them look up, see the helicopter, wonder briefly where it's going. Most don't notice at all. But one, a young girl, maybe 6 years old, standing with her father. Daddy, look, a helicopter. Her father looks up, shades his eyes against the sun. That's right, sweetheart. Someone up there is going to help people today. Can I do that when I grow up? He looks at his daughter, thinks about the world she'll inherit, about women who fly into danger, about heroes who walk with limps. Yes, he says, you can do anything. The helicopter disappears into the distance, a small white cross against endless blue, flying toward smoke, flying toward purpose, flying home.